Hello everybody, welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, bringing you a brand new review, and today I'm going to be reviewing Cobra Kai Season 6, Part 1. Yes, Cobra Kai has finally returned to our screens after a lengthy delay. Of course, we have had not only the actors' strike, but the writers' strike, and this is one of those shows that was affected on both counts of those. I believe they're in the really early stages of writing the final season when the writers' strike kicked in, and you can only imagine the delays that came from that. So the series is finally here to a degree. I'm going to be talking about that, giving my thoughts on the series, and I'm going to chuck a few spoilers into this, only because we're not going to be doing our traditional spoiler-free review followed by the spoiler discussion. We are going to wait until the series is completed and released in full to do a full overview. 2025 that will be. We're talking about that too. But as always, I do want to hear from people who are watching the show at home, so please do comment your thoughts on Cobra Kai. What you've enjoyed so far, is it not working for you? Your thoughts on the structure. I do want to hear those thoughts, and whether you're enjoying it, of course. But also that if you want to find out about other new releases, there's a lot of TV reviews. We're going to be doing The Boys Season 4 on Sunday. That's the big review for this week. We've got Twisters out in cinema. Whenever there's a video to announce, we will put them up on our social medias. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, all through our links in the description below. But I am here to talk Cobra Kai, and I guess I should give my thoughts on the early seasons, because I'm in this very, seems to be rare category where I didn't have a background with the Karate Kid films. I watched them all in the Christmas in which this was going out on Netflix. I think it was season 3, the first time we covered it properly on the channel. Of course, Cobra Kai originated with the YouTube Red structure, so Netflix have bought into that. Very similar way, Stars has a show called Heels, which there are murmurs of Netflix doing as well. So I'm curious about that background, but I very much enjoyed dipping into Karate Kid, binging those first 3 seasons of Cobra Kai over like 2 days, I think it was, doing reviews on the channel. And obviously we'll be getting a series every year, which was a lot of fun to watch with friends, to review with people as well. So there's been a big gap heading into today. You know, we're in July 2024 now. The last series came out at the end of 2022. I guess ultimately a year and a half isn't that bad a turnaround compared to a lot of other shows we watch with 2-3 year gaps. But for a series which has been annual at this point, you have felt it. For a series that has a younger cast playing school people, you also see the changes too. So I'm going to try and be really fair approaching this. And I guess there's one gargantuan thing to talk about, which is the structure, which, I'll be really honest, it's my biggest criticism of the show. I've enjoyed the part 1 of season 6, I'm going to say that. But we've been given 5 episodes out of 15. And when Netflix did the announcement, we're splitting it into 3 parts. That completely derailed my hype and what I was looking forward to with the show, because I don't think the show's format lends itself to splitting it up. Now, whether they're still filming, I do not know, but I really do not understand why they couldn't have just held this until the final season was out in full, because here I am getting invested again. 5 episodes on the cusp of it to really kick off, and now we're going to wait till November for part 2. But even in November, when part 2 comes and I go and binge the next 5 episodes, we're going to be waiting until TBC 2025 for the finale. The final 5 episodes, sorry, not even the finale. And I think this is a really bizarre release strategy from Netflix that's going to alienate their audience. I think there's going to be a lot of people that haven't been there, and I understand that the pros, right, that the show's not been out for a year and a half, so don't make them wait another year for the final season. But personally, I'd rather wait 2.5 years for 15 episodes than wait a year and a half for 5, then every 4 or 5 months later that they sort of round it out, because I think the show deserves better than that from Netflix. And if I want to get into the politics of it all, Netflix have a habit of the last few years of releasing these 2-part seasons. Part 1 to come out here, part 2 comes out 6 weeks later. Now, some people can say it's not ready, some people can say it's to build attention toward it. I say that's 2 subscriptions that people are going to have to pay. They can't pay for 1 month if they just want that one show and watch it all. They're going to have to come back another month and do it again. And it's very frustrating they keep doing this with other shows. I guess it's not applicable because this is 3 parts across, you know, unknown period of times. It could be 6 months away from part 3. It could be a year away from part 3. There's the the Karate Kid film in production starring Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan, which we've been told isn't to do with Cobra Kai, but is going to be releasing next year too via Sony, which is going to be very peculiar. My optimism for that film is that it actually follows on from Cobra Kai, and they're not telling us that until Cobra Kai finishes. That would make more sense if Ralph Macchio is going to be in it. Otherwise it gets very murky with canon and rights and production, etc, etc. But Cobra Kai is in a very weird phase at the moment, and I really struggled watching it today knowing there were so few episodes. I've actually told people, you don't need to see this, you can wait. I don't think it's anything that's going to get spoiled online. I enjoy seeing the actors come back to the roles, but at the same time, there's something I can't unsee, and I haven't seen Euphoria yet. I've seen clips from Euphoria like everyone else, and I can't wrap my head around that the characters in Euphoria are meant to be the same age as the characters in Cobra Kai. Now, yes, it's two different studios, it's two different everything. You know, one's about karate on Netflix, the other's drug, sex, rock and roll on HBO. But that can't escape my head that we've now got these actors who are in their like early to mid-20s. They're meant to be playing 16, 17-year-olds, and it's at a point where it's really hard to follow. And because we've had such a big gap in release, it's more noticeable than it's ever been. The acting is more noticeable than it's ever been. And I don't mean that as a pro or a criticism. It could be either or, dependent on which actors are giving what performance. There are some of them which feel like they were kid actors and they've outgrown it, and maybe this won't be their long-term career type thing. There are some which are going to be massive as the years go by. And I think something I kind of want to talk about the gap as well. Apologies, I forgot the name of the actor for Miguel, but he of course was in Blue Beetle last year, a film which I thought was okay. I had low expectations, but I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was alright. That film, he's the protagonist, and it is set after he finishes college. He has returned home to try and work and make a break for himself. This show is still set before he goes to college, and again in my head I can't get away from the ages because it looks too unorthodox, and the scenes where they're at school now, it sticks out worse than it did before. And I think this series, so far the series has moved away from that, and half of it you could say is even been shot in a back garden, or it's been shot in a jungle set, not jungle sets, sorry, like in a forest. And I struggled with little bits of that too. I'm not as invested in the karate, politics, the this and that, and is it the gap? Is it me being different in viewing habits compared to the final series? I feel like the Cobra Kai window has gone. I feel like this could have been a 4-season, 5-season show. It feels really dragged out to be a 6th season, and to get it here in 5 episodes, they're hyping up the big worldwide tournament. That's the big story arc for the series. Are they going to be the best dojo in the world? When we've had the All Valley from prior seasons, it's hard to then be excited for another karate tournament because we've just had that before, and putting it on a world scale, yet the focus is still going to be the same dojo and characters as before. And even with some of the villain side of things, where there are plots left open from last time, we had Kreese escaping prison. I know it's very dramatic and that's the part of the show, but it's comedy, it's goofy. You shouldn't take this show seriously, but a man jetting off to South Korea, taking over another karate dojo to be like the South Korean Cobra Kai, and then boom, big moment, let's meet them in the location for which we're going to have this tournament. I like that, and I've always liked Kreese, but it just feels at this point that they make an internal joke, how many heel turns can we do? And it feels like that, and it's not the wrestling fan in me watching it. It feels like there's only so many times I can have the characters get matey, be friends, then turn on each other, then be friends again, then turn on each other. It's happened every other season. There's some really good stuff with the show, and certainly with Peyton List's role, she's great in it. And then once again, the obscurity of bringing real life into it translates ridiculously into karate, and some people might like what happens to their character. I personally think it's quite poor. There's a great moment in episode 5. We're dealing with, spoiler alert, full time. We're dealing with the death of her mother, and she gets to really act like the others aren't able to in the show. And it's all these great scenes are just undone 20 seconds later. Let's have her emerge out the shadow. She's magically found her way to Barcelona to be part of Kreese's dojo once more. And I feel at this point I'm a bit zoned out. I'm committed to the show. I'm going to watch the final 2 parts. I'm going to do reviews of the final 2 parts, but I think this really hurts the show by being 5 episodes. What if the next 5 episodes are a complete different tone and people are lost based off the first 5? Because it does feel very childish at times. I laugh at times. There's some funny stuff. But then you're getting sort of diarrhea jokes and things like that, and it makes it a bit of a struggle. And again, going back to the 18-month gap, there are characters that come back on screen who weren't in the recap, and you're kind of having to wear the memory saying, who were you again? And maybe I should have rewatched all the episodes, or maybe I'll wait until part 3 next year, who knows, but it's a really tricky experience watching this. As I said, I enjoyed it, but it's not had the heights of the other Cobra Kai seasons, and it's unfair to say that because the show hasn't finished. I think ultimately my issue with this is Netflix's release of this, the handling of it. I would like to see the next 2 episodes. I'm excited for the film to a degree next year. There's just so many questions I have that need to be answered, and I don't think 5 30-minute episodes you gain anything. I can do a 5-season show, 5-episode season, but 30 minutes each with the credits, you're not really giving people much to go off there, and I think it is a turning off factor. As I said, I'll watch part 2 on release, but if you're a casual viewer at home, if you're curious of people's thoughts, honestly, wait until part 3. I don't think you're going to miss out on anything. I think we're going to get a tournament in the middle part, and then the final part's going to be everyone back home in America, settling it down, ending the feuds, and maybe setting up the film or putting people into their new environments. Who knows? It's a very strange place we're living in. It's a very strange series to talk about. It is different to the others, and I'm really curious to know what people think. So it's a bit of a deflated review from me today. There will be hopefully a lot more to talk about. And also, going from Cobra Kai to the boys' finale in the space of like 10 minutes, very, very different tone. But that's a conversation for Sunday. So yeah, me and Tate are going to be live on Sunday talking The Boys Season 4. We'll have a re-up for Twisters as well. There's a lot of things happening on the channel. So as I mentioned earlier, please check out the links. Linktree.com/CinemaSavvy will put you through to our pages. And I do want to hear people's thoughts. So comment your thoughts if you've watched it, if you're going to watch it, if you haven't. Am I being miserable for no reason? I don't think I am. I haven't spoke too much about the plots, the story, the characters, because there's really not a lot going on that hasn't been going on for 4 seasons in a row. So that's a weird way for me to round it out. Once again, thank you all for listening, for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.